Back in the older days of Call of Duty Zombies, a lot of people would have considered this game mode to be difficult, especially if you're going for the main Easter egg quest or higher rounds. If you're just casually playing the game, then maybe you disagree if you're just playing with friends, having fun. But even if you think Zombies has always been easy compared to nowadays Cold War or Vanguard, I would say those earlier days, World at War, BO1, BO2 and 3, 4 as well I suppose, Zombies could get pretty difficult, but it also depended on which map you play. There are maps, in my opinion, like Town, Ascension, those are some of the easier maps to play, but we also have harder maps like Shangri-La, and for me this is probably the most difficult map to play in Zombies for various different reasons, and that's going to be the main topic of this video. We're going to be talking about Shangri-La. I've previously done videos on the scariest map Treyarch ever made, which was Verrucht. I've also done a video taking a look at Nectar and Toten, and maybe another one I can't quite remember, so if you want to check any of those previous ones out, I will leave the links down in the description. But today we're going to be talking about Shangri-La because this has never really been one of my favourite Zombies maps, simply because I've never really been the best Zombies player. I've said countless times I don't really go for high rounds. I don't challenge myself to complete Easter eggs over and over again. I usually do them once, twice at the most, and that's it. So as a person that likes to play Zombies more casually, I would say, to me, Shangri-La is difficult. Whether it be the bosses, the locations of mystery boxes or perk machines, the tightness of this map, the sharp corners where you can't really see what's coming, the different obstacles that we have, such as the spike traps that can slow you down, and the time pack-a-punch. There are many different factors as to why Shang is, well, why it is like it is. Breaking down the three major things that make a Zombies map for me, which is gameplay, Easter eggs, and storyline. Starting off with the gameplay, well, Shangri-La I would say is a medium-sized map. It's not massive like Call of the Dead, Origins, but it's also not on the scale of Verrucht, De Rees, Nectar and Toten. It's a moderately sized map, however, because of the multiple different areas and layers. There is an above ground section, below ground, and how the map is structured, tight corridors, alleys, corners. It's extremely easy to get cornered, and unlike most maps, there's also not really a main area that you can train in. Again, looking at other medium-sized maps, Kino, the theatre, that was the main training area. Ascension, you could train near the PhD location, or the Pack-a-Punch. On Moon there was also quite a few locations, the Biodome being one of them, but Shangri-La has multiple smaller sections. So straight away, getting to those higher rounds is difficult. You start off where you spawn in front of the temple with your M1911, you've got the two normal wall weapons, the M14, the Olympia, along with Quick Revive. In front of you there's also the Pack-a-Punch machine, however, you aren't able to access it until you turn on the power and complete the steps. You can either go two ways from the start depending on where you're looking, left, which takes you towards the waterfall, and right, which takes you towards the tunnels and the minecart, each eventually both leading you to the power room. What's unique about Shangri-La is there's actually two power switches, and when you turn on the power, that activates some other unique features, such as the water slide, which was essentially a way to escape the zombies, the minecart system, again another way to escape and get around the map. Another unique thing to Shang was the mud pit, where when you step on the plates, walls come up in front of you, which could be very, very risky, especially if you have zombies chasing you. Alternatively, you could choose to jump on the mud, but that's just as risky because it slows you down. So in that aspect, because of the way Shang was layered, the fact that there were multiple different ways to move around the map, the minecart, the water slide, the mud pit, which chose which direction you went to, and the water sprouts as well, which could shoot you up from the bottom of the map to the top. That was something we never really saw in Zombies up until that point, and even now, I don't think anything's really replicated this kind of movement around a Zombies map. One of the other better things that Shang had, again very unique, which you'll notice is a common theme throughout this, and that was the wonder weapon. I'm going to try and pronounce its name, the 31-79 JGB215. Let's just call it the baby gun. Basically, it did what I just said. It shrinks zombies down to a baby size, and then you could just run into them, which would kill them. Was it the most effective wonder weapon? No. Unlike the thunder gun, you still had to, in a way, risk your life by running into the zombies to actually kill them once they turned small. But it was very fun, very unique. Another thing, or things I should say, that Shangri-La had was the boss, or bosses. It's pretty rare that you get two bosses, and I suppose it does depend on what your definition of a boss is, but there aren't many maps where we have two. I wouldn't count the monkeys. For me, these are the Shrieker and the Napalm Zombie. I know on some maps we have the Hellhounds and something else, or Transit with the Avogadro and the Denizens, but the Shrieker and Napalm Zombie, well, for me personally, the Shrieker was more annoying just because he was quick, he blurred your vision, he's got a white bluish appearance, they can appear at any given time, he doesn't have a dedicated round, but he spawns by blasting his way out of the ground with a sonic screech. The chances are you'll actually hear him before you'll see him, and then he sprints at you, and if he gets close enough, that's when you'll be affected. And similarly with the napalm zombie, when he gets close to you, you'll know because your whole screen, it becomes engulfed in flames, again impairing your vision and also causing damage. The Shrieker is easy to kill, however the napalm zombie takes quite a few more bullets, but both are relatively simple compared to some bosses like, I don't know, the Panzer, the Magua. They're pretty unique in my opinion, like a lot of things on this map. Which then brings me on to the third and final type of enemy, besides from the undead, and that is the zombie monkeys. Not to be confused with the space monkeys in Ascension, they both work pretty differently. You will see them as soon as you spawn into the map, they're just sitting around at the temple, but whenever a power-up is dropped on the map, anything from a max ammo, insta-kill, double points, the monkeys will then go after it, and if they manage to pick it up, because you can kill them before that happens, as the monkeys are carrying the power up as they're running back to the temple, if you manage to kill the monkey before it gets away, the drop that it had will be randomized. So you can actually use this to your advantage. Say if you originally get a carpenter, you can have one of the monkeys pick up the power up, begin to run away with it, and then as it's randomizing, kill it, and you can get something else, maybe something better such as a max ammo. But if you're not careful, the monkey can escape and that's your power up gone. But most of the time, since they're pretty easy to kill, you can use this to your advantage. So all of that, the layout, the tightness of the map, the wonder weapon which can be risky, the different bosses, the Shrieker and napalm, the monkeys, the traps which can block your access to paths, make Shangri-La, I forgot the pack-a-punch system as well, that being timed, all of that makes Shangri-La one of the hardest maps. But at the same time, they also make it one of the more unique. Not even talking about the location, it being set in the Himalayas, not on Mars. It's a beautiful looking map. There are features on here that we just don't see in zombies. It's definitely an experience. Obviously with Shangri-La still being relatively earlier in terms of zombies maps, it came out during Black Ops 1, about halfway through that game. We do have a couple of Easter eggs. The first one being the main quest, Time Travel Will Tell. It revolves around two characters, two British explorers who we know are Brock and Gary, who came to the Himalayas to find Argotha. They came here looking for a temple to prove its existence, however accidentally ended up triggering an eclipse, which led to them becoming trapped in their own cycle. So I guess that's also the storyline of Shangri-La explained as well. It's not too complex. There is also another character we were introduced to in Revelations called Sally. She ends up becoming trapped in a never-ending time loop in Shangri-La as well. But we know, as far as our Ultimus characters go, they ended up escaping and moved on to the next location. That was after they acquired the Focusing Stone. And the other Easter egg on this map is the musical Easter egg. All you've got to do, like always, is find 3 different items around the map. Usually it is teddy bears we look for, but in Shang, it is meteorites. And when you find all 3, the song on this map begins to play. And that is Shangri-La, the hardest map in Call of Duty Zombies. Maybe some of you guys disagree, you might think it's easier, maybe you think some other map is hard. I would say 5 might rival it, but there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.